Hello everyone, welcome back to Adventure Recap. Today's video will be about a very interesting movie. We're recapping an action, adventure, and mystery genre movie titled Time Trap, which was released in 2017. Well, without further ado, let's get started. This movie tells about a bunch of people who are stuck in a cave in which time works differently from the outside world. They don't realize that they have been stuck there for thousands of years until it's too late. The first scene of the movie shows a man and his dog in the wilderness. His name is Hopper, an archaeology professor. He finds an abandoned car with many things in there, including a notebook full of weird text and illustrations. The car looks very rundown, it must have been abandoned for years. Near the car, Hopper sees a big hole that leads to a cave. He looks far away to the mountain, there's a big gap that might be the entrance to the cave. Hopper gets curious and comes to the entrance, where he witnesses a man wearing a hat standing still in the entrance. He calls out to the guy but gets no response. Hopper feels that something is wrong there, so he returns home to get his climbing equipment. When he arrives home, there are already two youngsters waiting outside his front door. They are Taylor and Jackie, both of them are his students from university and Hopper's assistants. At first, Hopper instructs Jackie to prepare his climbing gears, but Taylor and Jackie want to accompany him. Hopper forbids them to join him, and he goes off to the mountain alone. When he arrives, Hopper ties a rope on a rock beside the first hole, tosses the other end in the hole, and goes to the cave opening in the mountain. His dog is barking anxiously at him. Meanwhile, the man wearing a hat is still standing there doing nothing. Hopper moves slowly trying to get into the cave. A few steps into the cave, he feels with his hand something like an invisible wall of force field that lets him to pass through. Hopper gets into it and the previously unmoving man now starts moving. Hopper follows that man deeper into the cave. The scene moves to Hopper's house. We see Taylor and Jackie getting worried as Hopper has not yet returned for 2 days. They both plan to go after Hopper, inviting Taylor's friend Kara, her half-sister Vivi, and Vivi's project partner Furby. They all depart together using Kara's father's truck. The 5 of them find the abandoned car, and find out that Hopper was actually looking for his missing parents. Then they find the first rope that Hopper had left behind, so they all follow the rope to the second hole, the entrance to the cave. They all get into the cave and witness the rope ends near a cliff. Jackie goes down the cliff and finds the rope doesn't get into the bottom of the cliff, it was cut off. They intend to explore the cave and climb down the cliff, trying to find Hopper. Only 4 of them get into the cave. Furby is the only one left behind and waiting for them outside. Taylor gives Furby a walkie-talkie so they can communicate with each other in the cave. One by one, they all climb down and reach the bottom of the cliff. While they're climbing down, they notice the same invisible wall that Hopper crossed earlier. The scene moves to Hopper now. We see he is still exploring the cave and following the man. He sees the light from outside the cave seeming to change rapidly and hears a scream of a child. He feels frightened and runs away back to the entrance. Once he is outside, the sky is already dark and the night has come. Hopper searches for his dog and his car to get home. He finds the car in a very abandoned condition. The car is full of dust and a lot of wild plants grow around it. It's also now broken and can't be turned on. Hopper sees another car, which was the truck that Taylor and his team used back then to go there. The truck was also in an abandoned condition. He finds Jackie's bag there. He is very sure that Jackie goes to the cave to look for him. Hopper goes back to the cave to search for them, but witnesses his light stick floating midair before falling when he crosses the invisible barrier. The next scene shows Jackie and the gang are now at the bottom of the cliff. Vivi and Jackie go together to check a tunnel. They hear a weird voice reverberating in the cave, along with a scream. They all panic and try to go back. Jackie climbs up her rope but soon it gets cut off and she falls back down, spraining her ankle. They try to contact Furby through the walkie-talkie but there is no response. They have no other choice but to keep exploring the cave as there is no way back now. Suddenly, a voice can be heard in Taylor's walkie-talkie. He asks for help and can be heard saying that he is in pain. When Taylor asks who he is, he says he's Furby but it doesn't sound like Furby. Taylor, Kara, and Vivi continue the exploration to find the voice, while Jackie stays at the cliff due to her injury. They see a hole that leads to the outside of the cave. We can see the sunlight keeps moving there. Kara climbs up to see outside and freaks out, telling Taylor to bring Vivi to the other room. While doing so, they meet with Jackie who's crawling to catch up to them. It turns out that Kara saw Furby. He is dead with a broken neck. It seems like he was trying to climb down but his rope was cut. Taylor finds Furby's camera and checks on it. We can see Furby recording everything he did while waiting for them. They get confused as they realize Furby has been waiting for them for many days while they are exploring only for a few hours now. Furby already consumed all of the supplies they have, so he decides to get into the cave through the first hole to find Hopper's car keys. When Furby climbs down the rope, we the light outside moving very quickly and suddenly Furby falls off the ground and injures herself. Soon, we see someone talking through walkie-talkie. It was Taylor from earlier. They all realize now that Furby is really the one who was screaming and asking for help before. Taylor tells Kara to climb up the cave without the rope to find a signal while recording everything she does. Kara gets out, but is confused when she sees that everything surrounding the cave is different from before. There are no trees, the air feels polluted, it's like they're in a different planet. She wanders the area, climbing up a rock to find a signal for her GPS but still gets nothing. Soon, we see a huge sandstorm and a weird triangle-shaped UFO in the sky. Kara goes back to her friends and tells them what she witnessed, but they think she's lying because to them she's only been gone for a second. Kara shows them the video she took before. Taylor shows their recording while in the cave to Kara. It looks like there is a difference in the timeline. Kara's recording shows she is already outside of the cave for 30 minutes, but the recording in the cave shows Kara has not gone outside yet. This really makes them wonder about what is really happening to them, so they replay Furby's recording to see that there is a creature approaching Furby, attacking him and killing him by breaking his neck. From the video, they understand that Furby died because of that weird creature and not by falling down the cave. They also think that the rapidly moving light is a change of day and night, but when Vivi checks Furby's video again, they realize that every noticeable shift of the light is apparently not a day, but a full year. This means they have been down there for a very long time. The ropes were cut off not because someone did it, but because the ropes on the outside was getting so old they snapped on its own. Kara tries to climb up the cave again when an unknown thing gets into the cave. It looks like a stair but with advanced technology. Kara climbs down using that stair. Soon a person in a weird-looking suit gets in and climbs down the stairs. It looks like he doesn't want to hurt them, but suddenly the inhabitants of the cave attack the stranger. We can see that it's not a creature but a prehistoric human person. The giant person subdues the inhabitant and looks at the group. They all run to the deeper part of the cave and see Hopper's parents, who was already gone for 40 years. Apparently they only just died there, killed by the prehistoric inhabitants. The cave inhabitants attack them, wound and kill Taylor. The weird man approaches Taylor and brings him into a puddle. Suddenly Taylor is revived and comes back to life. The cave inhabitants attack them again. This time the weird man gets hit and his helmet opens. He fights the inhabitants for a while and he loses, almost dying. Kara tries to talk with him but he speaks weird languages, so he shows a video showing the news of the missing person, which is them. The video also shows the civilizations have become more advanced and that humans have already left the Earth and are now living in outer space. Not long after that, that man dies. Taylor explores around and finds Hopper wounded, and he sees that near Hopper there is a weird invisible wall just like in the one they entered when they descend into the cave. We see Hopper's sister trapped in the time trap, along with humans from all different time in history fighting. When Taylor gets back to the group, suddenly the cave inhabitants attack them again and also Hopper back where he sits injured. They climb up the stairs that was brought by the weird man before. When they reach the top of it, it turns out to be water now. Kara touches it and suddenly get pulled by an unknown creature away. The others stop their climb now seeing Kara being taken away, and the ladder goes away but suddenly a tentacle gets in and grabs them all. We see Kara in a futuristic suit, telling them to hold on and pulling them out. The next scene moves to Furby drowning in water, which makes him alive again, along with Hopper and his parents who got trapped in the cave. They are now back to life. Taylor, Kara, Vivi, and Jackie show up to greet them. It turns out that they are in a spaceship that is going to Mars, as the Earth is not suitable for humans to live there anymore. That is the end of the movie. Thank you for watching and don't forget to smash the like and subscribe button. Also click on the notification bell so you will not miss any new interesting videos from us in the future. Until next time, see ya.